Hello, everybody, and welcome into today's episode of the Top Cut Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. My name is Sunny, and I'm coming to you from the studio with Caleb.
Hello, everybody.
Alrighty, well, we have an interesting episode today, I think, anyway. Me and Caleb have each made our own ban lists, and we didn't tell the other one what we did. So, we're going to do a full discussion. We're going to talk about all the cards that we think should not get hit. This is our actual ban list predictions. These are cards that we think will actually move around on the list, not just a discussion, what we think should happen, this, that, or the other. Because, I mean, at this point, it's any day now.
Oh, yeah.
So,
any minute now.
Yeah.
I've spent the last 2 hours just on the webpage hitting F5.
I mean, you pretty much have to this time of year. I mean, I remember the last ban list came out, and we did our predictions episode, and then I think it was in between the predictions episode. After the predictions episode, we recorded an actual discussion episode on what we thought we wanted to see. And then in between those two episodes, the ban list dropped.
Yep.
And then it messed up everything. So here's hoping that it works out a little bit better this time. Because we're going to do the predictions episode, and I don't think we're going to do a discussion episode until after it happens.
Keep in mind, this episode's coming out on Tuesday. We're recording on Sunday. Let's hope the list doesn't drop on Monday.
Yeah, let's hope it drops
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday would be ideal. So early Wednesday.
Yeah.
So, because we record again on Wednesday, so that would be rough.
Right, because then we can talk about it immediately.
Right. So we do have some stuff to talk about. Of course, we have quick play news. So the quick play news is that there is no quick play news
at the moment.
Basically, nothing has happened. So. And of course, we do want to shout out our patrons. Alrighty, so we have a big thank you to Mountain Man, Aaron Gardner, Myth Oceanus, Ace Micah, Pig, Scuzz Daddy, Ideal Saeed, Jeremy Drysdale, Ray Powell, and Austin Johnson. Thank you, everybody, so much for contributing, helping out, support the show. It means the absolute world to us. We do have an extra episode that comes out each Wednesday for our patrons, which right now we're doing a review of we're doing a set-by-set review of, every set. We started with Legend of Blue Eyes and some structure decks, and now we talked about
Metal Raiders.
The next two, no, we haven't talked about Joey and Pegasus yet. We did Metal Raiders, some video game promos, and
Tournament Pack.
A Tournament Pack 1, all
Tournament
in the
Pack
newest,
Season 1, boys.
Yeah, all in the newest episode. And then the next episode, which airs tomorrow, will be probably Spell Ruler and a couple other things.
Yep.
So, if you want to access that series, be sure to be a $5 nut patron. And then if you want access to the live streams of our recording sessions when we record Friday's episodes, be sure to hop into that. That's for the $10 nut patrons. So. Thank you again, everybody, so much for the support. It really does mean the world to us. It actually pays for us to post our stuff through a different site than what we were using. So there's some behind-the-scenes stuff already happening. Mm-hmm. So thank you again so much for that. Of course, be sure to join our Discord server. We have an enormous amount of discussion that happens there with some very good players. We have a lot of fun there. We do a lot of remote duels, things like that. And it is a wonderful place to hang out and interact with the community. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Top Cut Podcast. You can follow Caleb at JamTheMan17 and myself at DatChumley. Although, to be honest, I really just recommend that you follow the podcast at Top Cut Podcast. We are always liking, retweeting, and commenting on all the stuff happening in the community. So let's go on into our main segment here. We do want to talk about the ban list. So let's start with do you want to just go through your ban list and then I'll go through mine after, because I think yours is significantly more smaller. I mean, it's significantly less than mine.
Yeah, because I only moved 5 cards.
Yeah. So let's talk about it. Let's see what you got.
Okay, first off, just straight up unlimit Double Iris Magician. At this point, it's not doing anything.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
For semi-limit, Skullcrabat Joker, to be followed by a full unlimit the next ban list, because it's also not doing anything at 1.
I think that's also fair.
And I'm not and the semi-limit is to see if it will do anything at more than 1 copy with the 3 copies of Double Iris.
Right.
And then, if it's doing something besides just sitting there.
Yeah.
I think you have to be
I think you have to be really careful with the pendulum cards.
That's why I said Skull Combat Joker to 2.
Yeah, because, I mean, the pendulum cards could, like, very easily, like, if you just do a little too much, a little too quickly, they could very easily, like, swing the scales. Get it?
Especially with anti-human intelligence Messiah existing.
Yeah, that's a good card, man.
It's a really good card.
I think so, anyway.
Pendulum scale 0.
Plus a floodgate built in.
Yep. For my limits, limit Revolt and limit the Prank Kid's cat.
That is some good hits. It really is.
And then ban Eva.
Okay, so you hit the top 3 decks of the format. It's hard to really argue that. I would like to talk a little bit about the Eva ban. Mm-hmm. So how do you see that impacting the deck?
Well, the biggest way is that it makes it where they can either search for the Diviner or they can search for Orange Light. They can't get both, so they don't get the double negate or the...
Right, they have to be really choosy with their Ben 10 search.
Exactly. Yeah, they'll just loop the Ben 10 more.
They can't loop it more. It's at 1.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, don't they have a way to return it and go again?
I mean, yeah, but you can only do it maybe once. You might be able to pull off twice if your hand is cracked.
Yeah. But like I said, it makes them where they have to either get the Herald or the Diviner. They can't get both.
Yeah. So.
This makes the deck still good and playable, but not so you don't get to play the game.
And the other thing is that I think also it really it makes your end board an enormous amount weaker, which is that it causes you to go from just like no matter what, you already have 4 negates in hand due to Herald of Ultimateness, down to like maybe 2, maybe like 1 or 2, yeah. Plus you'll have an Appaloosa on board.
Yeah.
So you had and then Revolta 1. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Okay, so the whole bullet behind Revolta 1 is it still gives them that it still lets Tribrigade do the one full I'm going to make a sure egg on your turn, interrupt. It gives them 1, but then they can't just turn around and do it again and then again.
Right.
Gives them less follow up. Usually they don't need the follow up, but then also still gives them the option to still hard make sure egg should they want to spend the resources to do so.
Right.
Without too harshly impacting the deck itself.
Right. So what about the cat?
The cat. Okay, so with the cat, it makes Prank Kids, they're still good, but now they have to loop the cat. They have to turn the cat back to the extra deck in order to get another go at it.
Right, which almost it's like it doesn't even have a second effect.
Yeah, pretty much.
So, and I think the pendulum hits are like fair, My list is a little bit more expansive.
Yeah. Like literally 3 times.
Yeah, it's like over triple the size of yours. I'm actually gonna go from banned out.
Sounds good.
So, and this is, I think that everything on this list, it's kind of an expansive list. This is not my wish list. I think everything that's on this list either can or should happen. And not just like can as in like it can happen and from like a safety of the metagame. I mean, it can happen like they can do this like tomorrow and it'll be fine. I also have Eva banned on mine. I also have IO and Red Reboot banned. So the thing is, and actually so I have Eva, IO, Red Reboot, and Called By. Those are my 4 bans.
Well, oh, excuse me.
You're good.
Well, the Called By, I assume, is because Konami will want to push the
cross-out designator.
Right. Which makes a lot of sense.
That's why I'm predicting Called By, but also there's a second factor at play here.
Mm-hmm.
Called By, IO, and Red Reboot all have the same feeling when they get played against you or for you. And it creates this situation where like either you or your opponent, whoever gets played against, has this feeling that it was just like a sacky one of, and they just got sacked, rather than just like skillfully outplayed. I mean, I've had moments where my opponent ashes a card, and I have call by in hand. I just hold it, and then later on and then I still, because I still have the resources to play, and then I keep going and I keep playing, and they'll maybe Effect Veiler. Oh, that's a call by, So I do think that the card has a little bit more skill to it than most people give it credit for. I really don't think Red Reboot is like super skillful. I think
it's really not.
It's really just a combo insulator that should absolutely be banned. I mean, it's Solemn Judgment from the hand almost. Not quite, but I mean, it's pretty good,
Well, it's it's not that it's Solemn Judgment. It's the fact that it's also a one-turn floodgate.
Yeah, yes, and it's a counter trap. That's like, it can respond to anything.
Yeah, exactly. And also, yes, your opponent gets to set any trap card they want from their deck, so they can set an IO, whatever.
But they can't activate it.
Can activate it that turn. But the problem is that, in my own experience, anytime I drop that Red Reboot, I'm going for game that turn.
Exactly. I mean, if you drop Red Reboot, the game's over. So I don't like Red Reboot.
But I also have an OTK deck, so...
Still. And I have IO banned. Now, this is more of a prediction because I think Konami will do it, not because I think it should be. I personally, I'm kind of fine with IO. I think that the card has a lot more interactivity and a lot more skillfulness to it than people seem to realize. I do think that there is a certain amount of, especially in games 2 and 3, when people side in Cosmics and Twins, if somebody just activates Duster, you just have to chain the IO. But if somebody activates let's say Drytron player opens up their turn and goes Nova, do you chain IO there, or do you, or is that Nova just bait? Because if you chain IO and they have Twin, you lose. But if you let it resolve, then there's going to come a point in their combo where they have to either go ahead and shotgun the Twin to make sure that their plays are going to resolve, or it's too late. So there is a bit of skillfulness to it, but at the same time, the card's not an overly healthy card for the game. A one-of Floodgate, I don't... And I understand that, the life points are mandatory, and it's each standby fates instead of just yours, and it's not optional.
It's also only 700.
Yeah, but it can add up fairly quickly.
Oh, yeah, it absolutely can.
But IO is a card that we could sit here and talk about it all day and change our own minds on a dozen times. So, IO, very good card. I don't necessarily think it... And there's a good chance Konami says, no, it's already had an errata. It's fine at 1. It's strong, but it's been at 1 for a couple of years now, and this is the first time it's ever become a huge problem.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, to be fair, I think it's also the first time where you had a deck that literally... An entire archetype that literally has, one spell cards that they don't run?
It's been the first time in a while, yeah.
So,
and they could say, we'll just, leave IO where it is, hit Tri Brigade, and then just expect IO to fall off. The other thing IO does is it does give control decks a little bit more power. Because control decks are struggling at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
Like Altergeist, Eldritch, things like that. So,
I mean, you say that, but wasn't there a tournament recently where half the top 4 were 2 Altergeist players? Or no, it was it was a fourth of top 8. We're all
I think it was 3 of the top 8. But
yeah, something like that.
I don't think that was really something you can consistently
I
rely on.
I think that was more of a fluke.
Yeah, I really do think that also. My limited list is also a bit more expensive. So newly limited, we have Magical Meltdown. I think that card is insane. It prevents you from responding to things, which I hate. Just like I hate Super Poly for the same reason. You can't even respond to constructs effect on summon. You can't respond. I mean, you can't respond to anything. That card is so ridiculously powerful. It's not even the Search Alistair that's broken about that card.
Yeah. Now, my thing is, I would love for them to hit it to 1. I would love for them to do that. I don't think they're going to do it.
I respect that.
I would love for them to do it. It'd be very healthy for this game. You know, the Invoke players being limited to 2 of them instead of 4.
Right, with terraforming.
Yeah, with terraforming. Which means that they have to run stuff like set rotation, and then they also have to risk running like pseudo space or something like that.
Potentially metaverse. Yeah.
They
would have to put a lot more thought into their build.
Yeah, than just herder 3/3/2, let's go.
Right.
Well, 4/3 4.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The next card I have limited is Tri-Brigade Shurag, the Ominous Omen. I actually didn't limit Revolt in mine because I think that the real inherent power of Revolt comes from, if you limit Revolt, it's still searchable, and sure, it hurts the deck to.
It limits their follow-ups.
Yeah, it does limit their follow-ups and hurt their follow-ups, but if you limit Shurag, it limits all of their combo paths and all of their combo lines. Because I find myself all the time. Like, if I go through Zoo combo, and then I end on and then I can summon a monster. Like, if there's a way that I can just, like, as a follow-up to my Zoo combo, normal summon a Tri-Brigade, activate effect, banish 4, and go into Shurag, get a banish to clear my opponent's field, and then link those 2 off into Ferajit, get a search of, like, a Fractal or something, then summon then activate the Ferajit to summon the Tri-Brigade. Like, that's amazing. The fact that I have that much follow through, and it's all because I can make multiple Shurags. I'm not afraid to do that and hard make my Shurag if I have 3 of them. But if I only have 1, then I can't really hard. I have to save it for the Revolt. So
that's fair.
There's a bit more interplay, I think, with Shurag at 1. Because I think Shurag is not just a banish, it's also an extender, which is where it really gets broken. So, I also have 10 key limited. Now, I know 10 key's been at 3 for years. It made it all the way through Zoo format at 3. But I do think that it adds an enormous amount of consistency to the deck that can really be cut out. So,
oh yeah. Isn't 10 key just straight up a starter for you?
Yeah, it's a 1 card. It's like a 1 card access code.
Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's either 1 card access code or 1 card Shurag or whatever I need. The next card I have limited is Drytron Alpha. So I actually I banned Eva and limited Alpha. And the reasoning is because not only is Alpha, not only is the Fairy package really good, the Drytron package itself is also really good. If you look at it, the Drytron deck as a whole is busted. That deck's insane. It's got the amount of follow through that it has and the amount of resources. I mean, if you ban Eva, even if they cut the Fairy package, that deck's still just going to run a Megalith package and have be able to pop 4 cards on your turn. So the deck is still extremely high end tier 1. In fact, if anything, it might get more consistent with just Eva banned.
Ooh, fair point.
Because your end board might not be you might play for less
negates.
Right, your end board won't be as high rolly, but I think a Megalith package might be just as consistent. So, I'm not gonna say the deck's gonna get better with Eva banned, but the deck becomes more mid-rangey because you have to go with a completely different build. I think if that deck transferring into that more mid-rangey game, alpha at 3 is a problem. So I think you have to also limit alpha. I don't think one hit fixes the deck. Because I think even with Evo Band, the deck's power ceiling is insane.
That is fair. Again, you also have to consider that even if they don't go the Megalith package, there's probably something else they can do. Just do the fact that they can go into any ritual monster in the game.
Yeah, Vendreads, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I do also have the cat limited.
Oh.
I do have the Prank Kids cat limited, although I could very see Prank Kids missing the list altogether. Or instead of the cat, it could be Doodle Doodle Doo. The Link 2 that they run 3 of. I think that the Doodle Doodle Doo is a great extender. It does a lot for the deck, whereas having one of the Doodle Doodle Doo makes you much more resource conservative, whereas with one cat, the deck's pretty much unplayable. So that's my whole limited list. I think. Oh wait, no, wait. I almost forgot the 2 cards I was pulling off the ban list. I have Astrograph Sorcerer moving from Forbidden to 1. I think that Astrograph Sorcerer is an amazing card. Then I think that Pendulums are still unplayable. So even if you put Astrograph to 1, the deck's still
which is fair.
Almost unplayable. So
yeah, I think at this point it's been power crept out.
I'm not gonna say Pendulum as a. The issue is like I said, you just have to be careful with what you give them.
Yeah,
They've got 5 cards that are banned. You can't just take all the 5 banned cards and pull them off.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, because then you get Pepe again.
Yeah, and Pepe was good and all, but if you look at the deck, could just do the same. It could just redo its turn over and over every turn. So, yeah, I think that deck is. I think that Pendulums as a whole, I don't know. You could probably pull stuff off one at a time, and it's probably fine. The next card I have, and I know this is the last card on my limited list. The next card I have is That Grass Looks Greener. I think that this is actually an incredibly interesting card. And it provides an extremely interesting dynamic to the game. So at 3, the card is an issue. Because it gives you a consistent way to just mill. If you're running a 60 card deck, it gives you a consistent way to mill 20 cards. Which in decks like Paleo, in decks like Infernoid, not just Paleo and Inferno, I mean lots of decks. 3 grass is insane. In fact, at 3 grass, I think you have to run 60 cards.
Oh yeah, pretty much.
Or you just lose the game. So, but 2 grass, they have that in the OCG, but the problem is they won't do that in the TCG because grass is still banned here. So I think 1 is the first step. But here's the thing is, at 1, That Grass Looks Greener is really it promotes some innovative deck building, and it makes some cool things possible, like a 60 card Paleo list maybe.
Possibility.
Right, but the issue is that at 1, do you really want to run a 60 card list because of a possibility of opening a 1-up? I wouldn't. So you really have to consider the possibilities there. But I think at 1, honestly, That Grass Looks Greener is probably fine. In fact, I think it's kind of cool at 1. I think it promotes really interesting deck building. And even if it doesn't see any play, then what was the harm?
Which is fair.
Yeah, I mean, if it's not going to change anything, then what's the issue?
Yeah.
So, semi-limited. I have Mirage Stalio going to 2 because I think even at 2, most solid decks are only going to play 1. I have Red MD going to 2 because even at 2, most Dragon decks are only going to play 1. It's a hard once per turn. It's been errated. They did it in the OCG. It's fine. Skull Corvette Joker can go to 2. I'm fine with that. The deck's still doing nothing. At 3, I have Double Iris Magician. So,
yeah. My
2s are just cards that can come off the list.
Yeah.
Those cards could all go to 3 and it'd be fine. And Double Iris was just... It was just in... what's the word? What's the word for when somebody gets out of jail, but they're not quite free yet?
Parole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The semi-limited list is just parole.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, yeah, but like, I mean, that's what, again, this is what you think will happen. Like,
I think everything that I've said here should happen. I think if they did all of this, then going into Bode, we have an extremely interesting game.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, because you have B Troopers finally being able to actually do something before their support, because we don't know what their new support's going to be. Then, of course, you also have all the new archetypes that are coming out soon.
Right.
So they have to pay the way for those archetypes. Because as is, I don't think those archetypes are going to be able to do anything with the meta we have now. So they have to do something with this meta otherwise.
Well, okay. I say they're not. They can.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tri-Brigade's a ridiculously good deck. I think Drytron has an extremely high power ceiling and a high skill ceiling too, and it's a rewarding deck. But I think Konami wants to push the game to be to a more mid-rangey place that they don't currently have.
Yeah, so. And then of course, like I said, they also want to push all the new archetypes, which are kind of mid-rangey.
Oh, they're all extremely mid-rangey.
Yeah.
So, but before we talk about those, let's talk for just a moment about ETB Games.
Yes, ETB Games, our local and sponsor. We were actually there, yesterday?
Yeah, it was yesterday.
Yeah, just hanging out, chilling. One tournament or anything, just hanging out.
I mean, it's a great place to just, like you said, we just go there, we go see everybody, we get a bunch of play testing in. We're doing a bunch of prep for an upcoming tournament, and we know that we can always go there, see our friends, and get in good competitive games.
Oh, yes, very competitive.
So, plus, it's always great to go because they have everything you could need for all the games you love. They have all your Magic, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Warhammer 40K. They have video games, they have TVs. They have everything you need for whatever community you're a part of.
Actually, while we were there, they were actually in the middle of doing a Magic pre-release thing.
Yep, they sure were.
For Innistrad, I think.
I think they do it multiple. I think when they do pre-releases for Magic, it takes place over multiple days. It's like a whole weekend.
Yeah.
So they really take it seriously. They put a lot of love and a lot of effort into all of their communities. I've never seen a shop that's so just inclusive and welcoming for all of the communities in there. I mean, you don't have like Magic and Yu-Gi-Oh players and Pokemon players all bickering and fighting, saying, you know, this is our day at the shop, blah, blah, blah. No, I mean, it doesn't matter what day it is. Everybody just comes and hangs out, which is wonderful. So, and if you do want to support that shop, there's a link to ETB Games in our description. That is etbgames.com. And like I said, the link is in the description below to shop to support the shop.
Yep. Go check them out.
So, there is one more card on my unlimited list. I am, of course, talking about Maxi. So, I have brought Maxi from 0 to 3 on my list. And I do think that this is primarily to promote Cross-Out Designator. But I do think that...
I mean, it would also promote B-Troopers.
Oh, yeah, dude. That card being searchable in B-Troopers is insane.
Not just searchable. Can't they also recur it and use it more than 3 times?
I don't know about that. I don't really know the deck well enough.
Yeah. Like, if they could figure out how to do that...
Oh, yeah.
B-Trooper, I think, becomes tier 0. Because... even just being able to shuffle it back in the deck...
I don't know about tier 0, but it's very good.
Well, I mean, imagine being maxed on every single one of your turns.
I don't know that they have a way to do that, though.
They may not...
no, they do have a way to shuffle it back in the deck. Sting Lancer.
Yeah, Sting Lancer shuffles back in the deck, and they search it again, and then...
yeah, it is searchable. Wow, you can literally just recur Maxi over and over.
Yeah, so with B-Trooper, if they get going, they'll just keep hitting you with Maxi every single turn.
That said, I do still think that Maxi comes back to 3 here. I understand that B-Trooper becomes literally just the best deck.
Yeah.
But I think Maxi should come back to 3. And I think that Maxi... should stay banned, personally.
Yeah.
But I think it will come back to 3.
Yeah, again, them trying to push the cross-out designators and B-Troopers. Because B-Troopers are supposed to get more support in boat, aren't they?
Yeah, they should.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the most recent TCG exclusive archetype. Not only that, but if I had to guess, it'll probably get really good support in boat.
Oh yeah, like even another way to shovel stuff back in the deck.
Or a way to special summon stuff from the graveyard.
Yep.
So
either one of those would work.
Yeah. Now, I think that a lot of the... So let's talk for a minute about Max C. Because I think Max C has drawn most of the attention of the community right now. How do you feel about Max C?
I personally think it needs to stay banned. Just due to us being a completely different meta than over in the OCG. We're more mid-range to combo-oriented meta compared to the OCG's more just straight-up control.
But why is that?
I just think it has to do with just the natural mindset of the TCG. Because
I think it's because they have Max C.
It might be because they have Max C.
I think Max C literally just completely slows down the game.
They also don't have B-Troopers.
No, they don't.
And they won't for a long while.
Probably until next year.
Yeah.
But regardless, I just think that that's the reason that the game is so slow over there, is because Max C at 3 just causes you to... It's weird.
Yeah, it very much makes it where combo decks just kind of can't exist for the most part.
I mean, Drytron has 3 Ben 10 over there.
Mm-hmm.
And the deck is, like, only sometimes wins events.
Yeah, but you also gotta remember that one Max C and the Drytron player's day is over.
Yeah, if they don't have Crossout or Herald and a target.
Yeah, then that's it. You're done. Because, yeah, you could take the challenge, but your opponent's just going to keep drawing into hand traps to stop you.
Right. That's part of the issue with Max C in today's day and age, is because you cannot play through Max C and end on an appropriate board. Because your opponent is not only going to draw into all of their power pieces to break your board, they're also going to draw into a bunch of hand traps, forcing you to end on an extremely subpar board.
Nothing hurts more than right before you're about to make your one of your Omni Negates getting nibbed because your opponent drew it off of Max C.
Yeah, I mean, Max C forces... Okay, so Max C will almost always be a 1-for-1. Because if you're smart, you activate it like... Activate Alpha Tribute Ben 10. Chain Max C.
Yeah. Or
you're guaranteed to get a draw right there.
Or normal summon B-Trooper Scout Buggy Max C.
Chain Max C of the normal summon. Yeah. Or the activation of the effect, yeah.
Yep. Or even better. See if your opponent does normal summon Scout Buggy, affect the Scout Buggy, affect the Scale Bomber, then pitch Max C. You get 2 draws, guaranteed.
Yeah, I mean, there's ways that you can stack it where you can just go plus infinity. Mm-hmm. The card causes... So, even if you only get a 1-for-1, right? You cycled some of your hand, and you are only at... Your opponent's on an extremely subpar board, mm-hmm. right? So then, unless your opponent has Max C to even the game state, it forces a situation where your opponent either has to have Max C or has to have all the interruptions, which is where a combo deck comes in. I mean, which is where a control deck comes in. A control deck doesn't really mind Max C. Like Eldritch doesn't care about Max C. Eldritch is just going to set 4 and pass.
Oh no, you got your 1 draw because I special summoned Golden Lord.
Right, yeah.
Oh no! Set 5 pass.
Max C in a vacuum, sure, it boosts control decks, but it causes an issue where... Okay, so let's think about it like this. Upstart Goblin is at 1 in the TCG, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because it essentially allows you to run a 37-card deck...
At 3.
At 3, which...
breaks the rules of the game.
Not only does it... Well, kind of. The big point is that it gives you much more consistency.
Right. So, if just being able to draw a single card causes a card to be limited, what about Max C?
There is a circumstance where if you draw Max C, you lose the game. It can happen.
Because your opponent can deck you out.
A la Colossal Fighter.
Not even Colossal Fighter. Some decks can just summon that much.
Yeah. But no, I'm just saying, just for an example, over there, Sword Souls running Colossal Fighter, literally for normal summon this monster, activate effect to get a tuner, Max C.
Yeah.
Oh, you have a monster that is 29, that's 3,000 attack points. Make Colossal Fighter a good game.
Yeah. Because there's no recourse to it. So
yeah, you better have that D Fisher Sekret's armor on board.
Yeah. So the other thing about Max C is that how do I put this? Max C. So to finish up my analogy, if you have Max C at 3 copies, you are at best running a 37 card deck. Mm-hmm. Or at worst, running a 37 card deck that puts your opponent in bad situations every time.
Yep.
Because no matter what, you're going to get a 1-for-1 if you activate it smartly, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Either that or you're just going to end their turn. Either way, you win. Mm-hmm. So
unless your opponent also has Max C in hand.
Right. So if you can either guarantee a 1-for-1 or just end their turn, it's like Upstart but better.
It's literally Upstart but better, because all Upstart does is net you just a 1-for-1.
And even then, you give your opponent life points for it, right?
Yeah.
At least there's some kind of a trade-off.
Yeah.
Max C, there's no trade-off. You just win.
Yeah. The supposed trade-off is the discarding of the Max C.
Which is not much of a loss, because the Max C
just immediately replaces itself, first off.
Exactly. Not only is it going to immediately replace itself, but it's going to replace itself with a card that you can, either a hand trap that you can then use later in the turn,
or even a starter that you didn't have before.
Exactly. The card is, without a doubt, one of the most insane cards in the game's history. Because not only does it raise the power ceiling of the entire format, it increases the consistency of every deck that runs it.
Oh yeah, by infinitesimally.
Right. So, I understand the arguments for it coming back, which is, like I said, increasing the giving control decks more of an opportunity to play the game. But if that were the case, then control decks would be all the rage in the OCG, right? Mm-hmm. And sure, we always say OCG is more of a control-oriented meta.
Yeah.
But is it actually, or is it just more of a mid-rangey meta?
Okay, so yes, it is more mid-rangey than the TCG is right now. But that's because it's mid-range to control as opposed to like there's a sliding scale. Mm-hmm. They're in between control and mid-range. We're over almost all the way on
in between mid-range and combo.
Yeah.
Way more on the combo side.
Yeah, tweaked way over toward combo.
Right. And I get that, but I don't necessarily know that that's a bad thing. I don't know. I enjoy the idea of there being I don't know. I like more mid-rangey stuff. I like a more mid-rangey format. And I like more mid-rangey decks. So for me, I'm more of a fan of Max C being banned. But, I don't see it happening. I see them unlimiting it because of Crossout Designator.
I actually see them not touching it at all. Because the only reason is because there's no reprint yet. As far as we know, they don't have a reprint planned. And they would 100% go, hey guys, we're reprinting Max C. Be sure to buy this set now.
I don't think they would announce it. You know why? Because they did not announce it in the Gold Series from last year with Harpy's Feather Duster.
That is fair.
They also did not announce it with Crossout Designator in the tins. They just threw it in there.
Again, that is fair.
So,
But at the same time, I'm pretty sure Konami at this point knows that the vendors are going to tell everyone what's in them.
Yeah, they're gonna get free press no matter what off of early access and early coverage.
Yeah.
So I don't see a reason for them to do it. So that's our ban lists.
Those are our thoughts.
Yeah, that's kind of our thoughts here. I do think that we can pretty much wrap it up. Honestly, we could talk about how our ban lists impact the meta and what results they would have post meta, but to be honest with you, I don't really think that it makes really think it makes much sense to talk about it because one, our ban lists are so different, and two, we don't really know what things are going to be like until post Bode or until the ban list actually comes out.
Yep. Okay, so like if they did literally everything that we just said, if you don't have your maxis already, too late.
Yep. Way
too late. And if they don't reprint it, looks like you're not playing the game.
Yeah,
because there's no way you're going to win without maxis.
Yeah, the common maxis, if they don't reprint, are going to jump to 25 to 30
easily, and then like all the rest of them are going to be $50, $60 a pop
minimum,
and you have to run maximum, otherwise you just lose. That there is no. And then of course we also have to know what the new B Trooper cards are going to be.
Yeah. B Troopers become the best deck if Maxi goes to 3.
Yeah. And that's even before the new stuff. Now let's say for sake of argument they don't do the Maxi at all. They just keep it banned, whatever. Then it would entirely really depend on all the B Trooper support in Bode.
Right.
Because we know all the Sword Soul support. We know what Flunderees does.
Right.
We know what all those do. We don't know what the B Trooper stuff is.
Also, in Synchro Storm, we also have Lyrillist coming. We have
all the Lyrillist stuff.
All the Fleur stuff.
The generic Winged Beast support.
Yep.
That just about any deck that runs a Winged Beast is probably going to use.
Honestly, I don't think this ban list needs to do much at all.
I
don't think they really need to touch. I think they could literally just ban Eva, limit Shureg, and do nothing else, and it would probably be fine.
Oh yeah, like just kind of rein in just Drytron and Tribe just a little bit.
The only issue though is that if they don't touch Prank Kids becomes kind of insane.
That is fair.
When the Brave tokens come out.
Yes, because then they get Brave Kids, as I like to call it.
Yeah. Or prank tokens.
Yeah, prank tokens, Brave Kids, whatever you want to call it.
Right. So, I think it'll be interesting. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see.
Yep.
So thank you everybody so much for listening to today's episode.
Yeah, kind of a shorter one.
Yeah, but
as you can probably hear,
yeah, we're actually both sick. Turns out I have bronchitis and I have like severe inflammation in my lungs. So talking for this long is actually kind of difficult.
Yeah. and for me, it's just some really, really bad allergies.
Yeah, so
I've basically got hay fever, I think.
Yeah. So we are safe. We are good. It's not COVID. We've been tested.
Yep.
We always, if something comes up, we always do that to be sure that we're good before we hop in a studio together.
Oh, absolutely.
But we do want to thank you so much for tuning in today, for checking us out. It makes it means the world to us that so many people do listen and support us. Thank you again to our patrons. Thank you everybody in our Discord for giving us topics to talk about. Be sure to check us out on Twitter. Be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings. Their link is in the description below. That's our sister channel on YouTube. Be sure to check out ETB Games. Their link will also be in the description on our YouTube. And be sure to leave reviews for us if you are on Apple Podcast, because we have no more reviews to read out. We also need some more ratings. It helps our algorithm a ton, and it really means the world to us.
Give us reviews to read, please.
Yeah, and not just that, but how many times do you go in to look at a podcast and you look at it and you're like, it doesn't really have many reviews. It doesn't really have any ratings.
Yeah. So why bother?
Right. So those reviews and those ratings help us to basically convince people to listen to the show without even saying it.
Mm-hmm.
So, because that's coming from you guys. So, be sure to do all that. And if you would like to come chat and hang out, meet us in the Discord server. Have a good day, everyone.
Take care.
Well, so thank you everybody for listening to that episode. But now we have to give you the rest of the episode because Konami was not kind enough to wait until Wednesday like we so kindly asked them to. So, as a result, because we are now off of our normal recording schedule, Caleb was not able to come over tonight. Plus, he's sick, so get well soon, buddy. But instead, I have joining me, I have the large avian individual, Mr. Skyhawk himself, and of course, Dillon from Team Dark Dealings, both of which are regular friends of the podcast. How are you doing for tonight, fellas?
I'm doing pretty good.
I'm solid. I'm sitting at home. I had some pizza, and I'm ready to talk about the ban list.
Pizza, election coverage, and a ban list. That's a big day for you.
Yep, us Canucks have got a busy day today, especially for Yu-Gi-Oh fans. We've got two different hands of the law to decide between Konami and the federal government.
Well, we do have a lot to talk about as far as the ban list is concerned. So, for those that are unaware, we normally record on Sundays. The ban list dropped on Monday, so we decided rather than do an entire new ban list episode and change our entire recording schedule, we're just gonna go ahead and we're gonna record a ban list reaction right here on the and put it in on the end of the episode, and then kind of look back at what we got right versus what we got wrong from the episode that just aired that you just heard. So, just scrolling through it, we've all seen the ban list yet at this point, right?
Yep.
Okay, so our newly forbidden card is Zodiac Barrage. It's the only one, which is just laughably bad, right?
I don't think anybody saw this one coming. At least like they thought it was a possibility, but they didn't think it would actually happen.
Normal people didn't see that coming. That's kind of ridiculous to me, actually. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I think it was always like an outside possibility. Like, okay, they're not gonna but like if they don't directly hit Tri Brigade, they could do it. But I thought they would just like leave it at the thing that's later on the list and not touch this. But like it kind of makes sense, but like I don't really see why it wasn't that big of a deal.
You could have done other things and hit the Zoo Brigade engine and like the Zoo Brigade deck without Barrage, because like realistically, like that's fine. I'll just cut Barrage. It's not an issue at all. I mean, so
yeah, I think a lot of the issue, and I don't know if you want to go into like what we thought should have happened,
right.
But I think Chaka 9 should have been the one to take the L here, personally.
Yeah, I mean, like maybe we discussed that before. I think I actually my oddball prediction was because I think they were going to try to solve the Zeus problem in some way. I thought they were going to ban Borbo to stop the direct attack Zeus, and then it would just be like some bodies. But I mean, I guess this kind of just takes Zoo out behind the shed.
Yeah, for real.
But the crazy thing is that the Tri Brigade relevant parts are still playable. You can still play one rat and like 3 Thoroughblade and just still play it. Like normal summon rat is still really good, you know?
You're basically trading like you're clogging on your normal summons a bit, but you can still make Zeus and you can still do some bodies. It's like wonky, but you can do it.
It didn't really change anything about the list except for like you just have to increase your actual zoo monsters and
yeah, the extra normal summon is kind of wonky, and if I'm running that many normal summons, especially with the consistency it's like we'll see later, I would almost just rather run the cat build. But I don't know. I think there's maybe like a meld of the two that might be possible.
I mean, you say that like it's like you're running extra normal summons, but then like you're putting in more Thoroughblades, so it's like the Thoroughblade kind of circumvents you drawing 2 Thoroughblade in the first place.
Yep.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah.
It's weird. It's a weird one.
Yeah, it is. It was really unexpected. Nobody that looked at the ban section was like, you know what would go good here? A Barrage.
Yeah.
No, nobody said that. Everybody was like, you know what would good here? All these cards on Sunny's list that are not here.
That's true. I mean, well, we'll see more of that as we go on, I guess. But
yeah,
both of your predictions were interesting in very different ways, and like compared to what actually happened.
Yeah. So the next card we have, let's moving into the limited section. We have Eva. This is a
I
card
hate
that
this.
yeah, this is a card that
So
Caleb
much.
and I both called to be banned. In fact, I feel like the community as a whole was pretty agreed upon. Like, yeah, this is just gonna go. This is it. It's gone. But like
I
this is garbage.
I actually said like Eva and Beatrice should be banned on this list. Yeah, I'm playing the deck. And
Yeah.
should both
Okay, so I'm going to put on the cynical hat for a second here. I understand why they limited it instead of banning it. There's a fairy structure deck piece of stuff that's coming out, and Eva is like one of the main enablers of some of their stuff. So like, I kind of get it. Um, but at the same time, I feel like ban Eva doesn't functionally change anything. The only thing that it actually does in regards to how the deck functions competitively is it knocks one or like if you reroute the combo, really it only knocks one negate off of your Herald of Ultimateness, and it makes the deck more susceptible to droplets. Because if they have to Beatrice to combo, then they have to send Eva with Beatrice on your turn. You can droplet it, but other than that, it doesn't do anything. They could just swap it for a random one of, or like readjust the ratios for cross out now because maybe they'll have the space.
Or
I hate this. I don't know why they didn't just ban it. It's really ugh.
So like
or here's something we were talking about earlier. Here's the goo.
I figured out combo. Do you want to? Sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't mean to cut you off.
yeah.
Okay,
That's
okay,
good.
okay. Yeah, no, it's like
I led you
there's
in perfectly
actually
there.
my bad. There's actually a way that you can do M7 and then bounce the Eva to your hand, like within the combo, and still make Beatrice to get it there.
Oh my god. All right.
Yeah.
Tell me what it is before I
Um.
decease.
So like, it's really and truly just like So you're missing an Eva, so you play like another Ida or I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Ida that takes a spot. But you make Beatrice, you send the Eva, you banish the two fairies, and then at some point right here you can link off the Beatrice and another monster, um, and then because you have the only issue with this combo is that normally you get to ritual summon Ben 10 after tributing it, like at the beginning of the combo with like Zeta. You get to tribute it on board because you get to activate the ritual spell 3 times in the combo. Um, so like instead of doing it there for that, you'd have to either have two Idotins or you'd have to leave it either leave it in graveyard and not get the extra tribute, and you'd have to summon Ben 10, affect Minionis, target the Exceed, add it back to hand, activate it again, summon the Idolton, then add it back to your hand, and you can make M7 and then get the Eva back to your hand.
M7. No.
But also, you do have to open up a few cards to do it, and I'm not really sure if it's worth it. But you still can get to um
Eva's off.
Eva Tribute.
I just don't want it to be true. Like this is what I mean. Like what why would they not just ban this card? Or if they like didn't want to ban Eva for reasons involving the structure deck, limit Alpha. Alpha's not in the tins.
I
Like
called the alpha limit, but
yeah.
no.
But yeah, like this is I think the main thing that makes me like angry about this list is this should have been a much different hit to Tron, and because it isn't, the format will be worse for it.
I don't necessarily know that I agree with that. I think that Drytron is also already and I can already hear Dylan's eyes rolling. I think it's already a somewhat fragile deck. Sure. How do I say this? You do have to plan to be able to play against the deck. You have to plan for, you have to basically your deck has to be able to run a dozen hand traps because you have to see like 2 hand traps in your opener. But if you're running a deck that can consistently see a couple of hand traps in your opener, you can probably beat the deck. So, yes, Drytron is an issue in the format. I'm not going to say it's not, but I think it is a little bit more fragile than people give it credit for.
Now, I haven't done much testing, obviously, since the Banlist came out. So, like, saying the whole M7 combo, it might not even be worth it. Because it does make your combo a lot more fragile to hand traps. Because as I said, you can't use that second Benton search, so you can't really complete the Orange Light Ava, or you have to use the first Benton search to get Diviner if you don't already have it. So it does make the combo more fragile. So like I said, I'm not sure it's actually worth it.
Right. Well, the point is it's there, so do with that information what you will, people.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing, let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about the next limit, which is Prank Kids Meow Meow Moo. I think this one's a little bit more interesting than most people think. I think that a lot of people were calling for the chicken here. Instead, they got the cat, which I've said previously makes the deck unplayable, but through listening to others' opinions and doing a little bit more research into it, I don't think the deck is unplayable, but the follow through is not as good.
Yeah, there's like a very specific trade-off that can get made here. With Dodo, it was like it made the deck more susceptible to hand traps. This actually kind of weakens the end board, or it weakens the recovery. Because like you
Right.
either have the option to shuffle it back with something like pranks, and then your butler only gets one activation, or you have to try to play to like make another butler on your opponent's turn after you resolve it, which is really high roll. Or
Right.
you leave the meow and you don't shuffle it in the end phase, and you get your 2 activations, but your follow-up is much, much worse.
Right.
Especially if, like, your butler gets beaten. So I suspect pranks might start to, like, lean back into relying on, like, stuff like there can be only one again, just because that it can be, like, a backup plan for if they end up having, like, stuff cleared and they can stall the game out a little bit to draw enough pieces to go off again. I don't know. I feel
Gross.
like this is, like,
Fine.
fine. This is harsher than frankly, this is harsher than the hits to Tri Brigade and Drytron, and I think that's nuts. I don't understand why Prank Kids is the deck that gets the hardest hit of the 3.
I think
So
that there's a possibility that it's because of the Brave token stuff coming.
Oh,
It's like a
actually, yeah, that's
preemptive
true.
hit.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes a lot more sense than what I was telling you earlier. Actually,
Yeah, I guess.
um,
Uh,
well, to
but
be
if they're
fair though, prank kids can they can realistically do their board and also in on Abyss Dweller like in a rank 4 with the Raigeki. So um, I'm not sure if it actually kills the deck. You know what I mean?
yeah, do they
Yeah.
just shift to like Exceed? I like they probably either shift to Exceed or like go back on the like the main deck. There can be only ones and stuff like that. And I mean, like cross out is a thing, so they can play that to insulate their turn 1 play more. So I don't know. I understand this. I just don't understand why the hit is harsher than the other 2 top decks. I don't think that makes sense, even if it's like a preemptive red token hit.
Yeah, I think that they were just struggling to find something else good to hit the deck with, to be honest.
That's true. It is hard to hit. We were like in the jank tank discourse arena. We had people being like semi limit all the main deck prank kid names. I think that's how hard we were reaching to try to find something that actually like matters. So I get it. I think it's weird.
That sounds like Caleb's way of fixing Alistair and making it a Gemini monster.
Oh my god. I'll
Limit
never get
invitation
tired of that.
Alistair to 2.
No, dude, make Alistair a Gemini monster. I'm telling you, that's the answer. Caleb
Oh,
has it right.
ooh, I like that. I'm
I think
in.
everybody would like that.
No, but the
So,
problem there is that then they always have the double summon.
oh,
So
yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right. And they can play Gemini Spark.
oh yeah. Gemini Spark into Necrofusion. Let's go.
Oh no, you absolutely know that they would 100% if they did if they're gonna errata if they're gonna errata Alistair to be a Gemini, they're also gonna errata Meltdown to make Alistair make Meltdown a double summon.
Oh yeah. No, that
Once per
works.
turn you can summon one additional monster.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
oh
let's move.
wait.
Yeah, that's the only way we get Meltdown banned. I mean, is it worth it?
Yes.
Yeah. The next card that got limited after the cat is, of course, Fire Formation 10 key. I mean, there's the Tri Brigade hit, or as much of one as we'll see on this list.
Yeah, I don't know. Sonny, you're the one who's been playing Tri Brigade more than either of us have. Like, what do you think about the barrage ban and the 10 key limit as to like where the deck goes from here?
I was running 42 cards. I'll cut the 2 10 keys in the barrage. I'll throw in an upstart and I'm good.
Yeah. Format fixed, everybody. Welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh!
Realistically, I really, and I mean this sincerely, I say that. What I'm probably going to end up doing, though, is I'm actually not going to put in a third Thoroughblade. I was thinking about it. I don't think I will. Because I do think that the 2-in-1 ratio there on Rats and Thoroughblade is still correct, because you still have a normal summon Rat to grab a Thoroughblade and dump. And then you still have a Thoroughblade in deck that you can get either off a 10 key or hard draw it or whatever. That will still allow you to go into Borbo without having an unnecessary Thoroughblade in deck. But what I think you can do is you can cut down in other places on certain hand traps to fit in a cat package with this. Because literally, all they did was give you deck space to run more starters. So now you can run cats and just have even more starters. Yes, you're still very normal summon reliant, but if you run just like 2 cats instead of 3, then you can, it gives you a little bit more versatility. If you can special summon the Karis, banish, if you have a way to banish 4 for Omen, and then you can link off the Karis and the Omen for the Ferjit, and then use the Omen to search Rescue Cat. The versatility there is really, really interesting. So, Cat becomes either a starter or an extender depending on your situation, which I think is probably the route to go now because of the lack of consistency of the Zodiac engine.
It's true.
So,
I'd point to make here, other people have made this point. With the limitation of Tenki, this is actually the most that Zodiac has been hit on the list ever. Despite the fact that it's basically just an engine in the one deck, Zodiac is more banned than it was when it was like hit back when it
Really?
wasn't like tier 0. Yeah. No, because like back when it was, right? It was like Trident banned, Broadbull banned.
because Tenki never got hit.
Because Tenki never got hit, and Barrage was never hit, if I'm not mistaken.
No, Barrage was banned
Trident.
before.
Oh, was Barrage banned before? Because I thought
according to Twitter, it was.
Yes.
Okay, because I know Barrage went. I know it was at 3, and then it went to 1 when Trident came back. But even so, that's still now Trident, Barrage, Broadbull banned, and now Tenki to 1. I just think that's really funny.
It's kind of funny.
You know what? I think you're right. I think Barrage was at 3, and when they brought Dryden back, they dropped it to 1. Because I saw memes of like the whole Thanos wasn't worth it meme for that.
No,
exactly.
I'm pretty sure when I came back into the game, Barrage was at 1.
Well,
I think
it was at 1 when Trident was a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. Maybe there's been, I don't know. It's probably, honestly, those cards have moved around more than probably any other cards in the entire ban list.
Yeah,
the Zodiac engine as a whole.
Second only to like Malicious.
Yeah, and Malicious has a history. And speaking of, let's go into the semi-limited list.
Hooray!
So of course, the semi-limited list, a lot of people wanted abolished. I enjoyed the semi-limited list, but we're not going to get into all that. First one is Danger Nessie, went from 1 to 2. I've never played in a game where the Danger package was at full power. I know nothing about how good the Dangers are. Is this okay?
I think a lot of the stuff that made them bad is gone, and there are more counters to the deep draw deck that exists. I think this is probably fine. Nessie is obviously the scariest of them, because while the other like Dangers are like level 3 extenders, which is dangerous for Cherubini turbo decks, the package itself has really just done nothing aside from just being those niche pieces and like seeing play in Grand Maju. Nessie is the most dangerous of them because of what it like does for consistency. Because like all of the other dangers when they're discarding, like Jackalope summons from deck, Tsuchinoko summons itself, the Bigfoots are removal, and Ogopogo sends to graveyard, yada yada. And it's level 7, so it doesn't like mesh as well with stuff. But Nessie reloads another danger to your hand, which lets you dig through your deck further than the other dangers actually do. if the Nessie itself gets hit out of your hand. So that's why it's like the last one of these to come off. I think there are decks that will play this. Grand Maju 100% is playing the second Nessie, so they can dig through the deck further. I think some
This
deep
means
draw
it's
decks
not the
might
last one
try
to
to
come
creep
off.
in. This is, yeah.
No, Jackalope and Tsuchinoko are still at 1.
Yeah.
Are they still at 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? I'm insane. I've been corrupted by the moron Banlist tournament. Wait,
Oh
but
my goodness.
then why is Nessie coming to 2?
Look,
Why this one?
I'm gonna say this.
I'm having a day, man.
I think the
I
reason
thought they were at 3. I'm crazy.
Nessie's not like as broken as the other two right now because of fan lights. Probably.
Yeah.
Might be why.
Yeah.
Also, like, it's honestly a really slippery slope with the dangers because, like, once you give them too much, like, the fact that Skull Dread still exists, I think makes an argument to where, like, I don't know. I think they'd be really good with something if they came back. Like, they definitely couldn't bring back Colossus, and then they couldn't do it.
When you
Because
say
of
Colossus.
Danger Thunder. Um,
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh,
I kind of like this approach then. Let's like peel off the dangers one by one, and then once there's a deck where there's like a critical mass of them that it's too good, then you peel them back. I'm good with kind of messing with it a bit. I think it's like one of the more boring cards they could have pulled off the list and been fine, but
the
Yeah.
Dangers just kind of become an issue with like Curious and Skull Dread, like because they're all dark and they're all different types. They make Curious real
Yeah.
easy. You get like combos that just get to floodgates, and then
Or
like
just
Skull Dread.
Or
Yeah.
just do what I
Combos.
did, and at the last tournament that we were at, I went 4 for 5 on my danger hits. Just that simple.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it's just that easy sometimes. Next is Malicious. That didn't move. It's still at 2. Next is Performapal Skullcrapat Joker from 1 to 2. I called this. He told you, but I mean, like, realistically, Pendulum's not doing anything with Electromite at 0, so like this is fine, right?
Yeah, this
Yeah.
doesn't matter.
Okay, cool. Consensus, yes, is fine. This next one is actually, to me, the most interesting thing on the entire list. Emergency teleport to 2.
This is potentially spooky.
Ooh, spooky.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, this is the thing that Konami is gonna scare us with going into Halloween season. This is a bit spooky. This is a really, really, really strong generic card. I do think it's really funny that this is actually a buff to Virtual World. Because like the added consistency of being able to get a Virtual World name on board without using the normal summon is huge for playing through interaction on top of just overall consistency. So I think it's really funny that they've hit the other like of the top 4 decks, but
Right.
Virtual World is getting this like indirect buff for
I
no
don't
reason
think
other
that they're
than to
doing
promote
this for
fun.
Virtual World.
Well, not specifically, but it has the effect that Virtual World gets better as a result of it.
Yeah, but this is all for the cards coming in Grand Creators, which I guess they could have waited to do, but that's what this is for. This is
Yeah,
for the punk archetype.
Shout outs to you mutant players.
Hey,
who
yo.
didn't get E-Telly to 2, but you get it now. So congrats.
Yeah, they were like, okay, we know Mutant's gonna be bad, but the punks are also gonna be bad. But you know,
we got to make them less bad so that something other than Brave Token people actually think about.
I think E-Telly, I think it kind of just poses an issue with future game design. I don't think Virtual World right now would be much better with E-Telly. Like, become more of an issue than it already is in the
I think
format.
2 is the perfect number because it's a
I think
mixture of
2's
psychics
fine.
and worms.
Yeah.
Like I think 2 is, even if the card was at 3, I think Virtual World would run 2. And I know that sounds really dumb, but realistically, when you think about it, doesn't it have to be a level 3 or lower psychic?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but
your
It's a deck
targets
that is
are
pretty
Lulu and Nian Nian exactly, and you only run 2 Nian Nian anyway, right?
Yeah, Nyan is really stupid to get out of the deck
yeah,
though, because the
Yeah, then
reason
you
that it's
contribute
so
it for
much.
driver.
Oh yeah. And then that's a level 6, right? No, the reason
No,
that
that
utility
came
is
up. That happened at our locals over the weekend, and it won the
nice.
game. It won the game.
That's what you do. What you got to do.
Yeah.
No, the reason that eTele is I think like a more significant buff than people are talking about is specifically because it allows you to get another name on board without committing to the normal summon. That's a body. Um, like that lets you play through so many more hand traps without committing to that normal summon. It makes it a lot easier to do charge warrior earlier in your combos.
that's true.
So I actually view this as a rather significant buff to the consistency and the resiliency of virtual world. I don't like it's not
I
like
do
it's going to
agree.
make some insane difference, but it is like it's relevant that VW is getting a buff and the other 3 decks are being scaled back.
I think that this moves VW into the top 3 in the format. Personally,
Probably, to be frank. Like, I mean, people like might prepare for it. Stuff like format shifts will move stuff in.
yeah.
VW, I don't know if they have like actively the room to play cross out. So there's going to be some weird format dynamics.
Oh, they're gonna have to make the room. They'll have to drop like if they're running
Okay.
tactics, they'll just have to drop the tactics.
Yeah, that's true. That's also possible. I don't know. It's going to be weird. Shout outs to the Cosmo players. I know you've been waiting
Yo,
forever.
they're one
Y'all,
E-Tele away from that deck being at full power.
you can play 5 Farm Girl now. Congratulations. Yeah.
Yep. So I don't know what you're talking about right now because I've never played Cosmo, but yeah, that's what I've heard. It's good for them.
Fair enough. That no, Dylan and I were talking about this earlier. Dylan, you were saying that eTele was the reason that the reason that eTele went to 1 was because of Cosmo.
Right, yeah, no, it was during that format. That was actually one of the hits they made to Cosmo specifically.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
no,
This
I'm fine with it,
last
honestly. I think it's cool.
yeah. Last note on this, I'm cool with trying it, but this does spook me out a little bit. A lot of decks I think probably will still be playing the Gamma package if they can. And eTele being extra free tuner bodies, I think is a bit scary. For example, I think this opens up a lot of random possibilities to raise the ceiling in a bunch of weird decks. Dinosaur will play this as an extender, frankly.
What?
Yes, no, seriously. I will, and it's actually cracked. I will be playing this in Fluffle with Recover because it allows me to eTele out to a Recover to go with Dog, make a Nat Beast, and then use Recover as an additional link extender.
That's
There are
cool.
more
Okay.
targets in the game than you would think. Even like some generic decks might play a Nyan Nyan just to eTele it out. Like level 3 spam probably like does this to Nyan Nyan, link it off, and then when you summon another level 3, pull back the Nyan. I think there are decks that will definitely use it to do that kind of stuff. And any deck that's playing the Gamma package that like has any kind of link climb aspect to this is probably looking at, now that you can play 2 of this instead of just 1. I think it'll see space.
you know, I said Cosmo was the reason, and it probably was part of it. But now that I remember, actually, there's a deck that Christopher LeBlanc created. It was a Omega hand loop deck, and I believe it probably played the max number of that card also. And Konami doesn't
Yeah.
like decks like that.
Yeah, it is like I think this is cool that they're bringing it to 2 to experiment with because obviously it works for punks. There are rogue decks that benefit from this. There are meta decks that benefit, but it is a bit scary. So keep an eye out for what this is doing because I think this is maybe a bit more powerful than it lets on.
Yeah, I don't disagree that this is a powerful move. But I don't know that. I mean, it's not going to break the format. I do think it's the most interesting thing on this list. So I really do.
I agree. I'm with you there.
The last thing on this list is Double Iris Magician to 3. I think everybody and their mother called this. It was fine when it was on parole. Now it can come out.
It's not
Yeah,
Electromite.
What? Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, I think like a Frank, like this may be a bit dangerous. Astrograph could maybe pull off, so long as they decide to just never unban Electromite ever again. Like,
I called Astrograph to 1, but no.
yeah, because I think like Because the thing is, like, if you like Astrograph and people play Wavering Eyes, the deck is still a bit fragile, but you can actually play like Time Pendulum Graph Control, and that doesn't sound like it would be a terrible deck in the format. So,
Yeah.
like, I think that would be cool, but I mean, I guess not.
Yeah, I think it would be kind of cool, and like I'm fine with it as long as pendulums aren't like actually good.
That you are a firm believer in Konami's anti-pendulum agenda.
Sonny,
I think that's the one thing that Konami's gotten correct, honestly.
there will be a day where the pendulum deck comes back, Sonny. There
And
will be a day.
at that time, when Pendulum is playable again, I will make a Patreon goal where, for enough money, I'll play it. But until that time, I'm going to thoroughly avoid it. So,
Yep.
Was there
Man,
anything else that y'all wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I guess maybe to wrap up, just because I think this is a good question, and I'm curious what you think, and I'm sure the viewers probably are too. What do you think the format looks like after this?
It's pretty much the same, except the only difference is, personally, I think that Drytron and Tri-Brigade are still far and away the best decks currently. Virtual World moves up into the number 3 spot. Prank Kids moves down into like maybe the 5 spot. And I think that the ever eternal PK Fire is about number 4. And I don't think people give that deck enough credit, especially since the Dragoon engine did not get touched.
Okay, Dylan, what do you think? Because I definitely have a take here. That is maybe a bit spicy.
Ooh.
There was a point like here where like Virtual World, yeah, it's a competitor, but I still feel like Famlight's like highly slept on, and I do think like the utility actually helps them also. Maybe
Ooh.
not as much as, as
I forgot
Virtual
about
World,
that.
but my friend Cameron has a list on the channel, and he has some spice, and like I feel like there's so much that you can do with that deck.
Things like Psychic Wielder.
Psychic Wielder, the Sangan is insane. Like the thing is, you can get an extender with the Sangan, and you can also just get like a hand trap. So it's like either it's like a negate for the other turn, or if you need to play through something, like if you don't have enough gas, you can just search the Psychic Wielder. It doesn't activate, and with Sangan's Errata, you can't activate the effect of the monster you summon, but it's just an inherent summon, so you can just put it out there.
Hmm.
But I think it's either one of those decks. But besides that, the format stays the same. I think Prank Kids comes down, and either Fanlights or Virtual World just takes that slot.
Okay. So I have a slightly different take, and I really, really don't want to say this,
Say it.
but I think Dragon Link is the best deck going into the next format, and I don't think it's close.
I'm not going to say I
It's
don't think
been
it's
creeping up.
close, but you might be right.
I think Dragon Link is the best deck, and I hate that Konami has created the environment for it to be the like a top 2 or the best deck for like the 6th format. Please just ban spheres. Do whatever you have to do to just kill this deck forever.
Limit Chaos
But
Space.
oh yeah, actually yeah, I'm good with that. But
That would be a
like
really good hit to the deck.
something underrated is that especially with the Chaos Bench engine, they can play both E-Tellies as extenders because they will play the Gamma package as a hand trap to enable that. Um, the hits to all the other decks like power level down. People aren't preparing for Dragon Link. Dragon Link has the non-engine space to play cross out if they really want. Tri Brigade having its consistency lowered means they don't have to worry about a Zeus on the crackback, and it's maybe a bit easier to play through the board. The fact that you still have to dedicate so much side deck space to Drytron specifically means that the bigger impact hand traps that hurt Dragon Link won't be played as much because you still have to dedicate that space to Tron. And there's more rocket stuff coming in Bode. So
Um,
I think Dragon Link is probably the
To be
best deck
fair,
in
the
the
rocket
next
stuff
format.
coming in Bode is, I'll just say, less than impactful.
I think
I'm gonna
Caliber is
s-
underrated.
I'm gonna say this. Like I said before, yes, you can double Eva, but also on the same coin, like I said, it's not. I don't know if it's actually worth it yet. Um, but
Oh, hold on,
because of the
we
fact that
lost
you can,
Skyhawk.
what's up?
Okay, you there?
I made it.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah,
Okay, sorry, Skyhawk, we lost you for a minute.
Oh, okay. Um, But because of the fact that there's only one Eva, that means like I'm not ending on double orange like double diviner. So like now like dark ruling my board isn't necessarily bad. Like I don't have 2 negates through the dark ruler still. I only have 1. So like dark ruler could actually realistically go back in the side decks for Drytron, and you wouldn't have to play these cards like that attempt to stop Drytron from doing what it's doing.
Yeah, that's true. You can play something other than Cycle Reader, basically.
Yeah. Also, like, I did just think of a combo while we were here. Instead of like making the M7, instead of making
We're
the
always
M7,
in lab mode post list.
you could make a Insector Exabeetle and like the Beatrice dump the sword, the whelp.
Buster Lock? I was
Yeah,
doing that in Dino. I might do that in Dino again, actually, because you can do like Auroradon, and you can do Shooting Riser Dragon to send it.
That's disgusting.
Yeah, that's always been
I
possible.
just thought about the
actually.
Exabeetle thing, and that's like the grossest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. So the problem with Exabeetle is like you can attack over it.
yeah.
So like I feel like if Drytron was doing that, you might set up like IP into Unicorn to prevent somebody from just running it over. But that's an option, frankly. Like
Skyhawk is not happy. The bird man.
Yeah, I think that Konami's really relying on Bode to shake up the format enough, which, I mean, in theory, it should, right? But
I don't think it does.
I think what they're
Not
really
enough.
attempting to do here, like just to say, because it doesn't. Like the decks coming out don't actually match up to these decks right now. But I think what they're attempting to do is like keep a format alive, and then when Bode comes out, yes, it won't be as impactful. But this next ban list that comes out is going to be the real one. This is going to be the one that kills these decks in this format, and like lets Bode flourish.
I don't
Also,
know.
it's really good because if they do that, like it gives you time to pick up the cards because they're not going to be as expensive off bat. Because, like I said, they're not going to be able to compete as well.
that's a good point.
Um,
I think the better reasoning, though, to say that isn't even just like, I really think the reason is because they need to sell the Megatens. They need these decks to be playable for a couple of more months to push the Megatens.
yeah.
And all of the upcoming products. So if they wait until January, even if these decks are still amazing right now, like you said, give it until January and then they can nuke the format, which is, I think, what they intend to do. But I've been saying they're going to nuke the format for the past like 8 ban lists.
I want them to.
Yeah, that was the point I was going to make exactly, is that we've kind of been promised, or not promised, we've been like anticipating the big format SmackDown list for like the last year, and it hasn't happened. Like the closest we got was the Calamities ban, and even the list surrounding that was not that crazy. Like I feel like we've been waiting for the list that like unbans a bunch of interesting cards to mesh with the format and just like super checks a lot of the stuff that's been keeping a bunch of other decks down. Like I don't know. I feel like the world would be a better place if Plunder Patrol was one of the best decks in the format and not like Virtual World and
let me ask you this. We're going on a year now, right? Because I mean, Virtual World, Tri Brigade, both Phantom Rage, and Drytron and Genesis Impact all released in 2020. We're talking about a year now that all 3 of these decks are still good. They're still playable. I mean, I know Tri Brigade was a late bloomer compared to the others, but I
are
mean,
you saying Toss 2?
is this possibly Eternal format too?
Interesting. I could get on board with that. If it extends until January, yeah,
Yeah,
probably.
January 17th is the next no sooner than.
That's like if the format, like there will be some things that change, but like if the decks are so good till then, I think there's an argument. And then maybe we'll get the like ban Shureg, ban Alpha, ban Zeta, ban freaking
And Zeus.
I don't know, ban Zeus, ban Shen Shen, ban Lulu, ban
all the
Shureg.
pendulum cards.
Yeah, well, that's what they'll do. They'll slowly unhit them, and then when Pendulum tops like one event, they'll be like, okay, when we do the murder list, we're taking Pendulum out behind the shed. We're banning Wisdom Eye Magician. We're banning Pendulum Call. We're limiting
Star Pendulum Graph, just cause.
Yeah, limit start pendulum graph, ban like do remi chord, whatever.
Honestly, I think there's a legitimate argument to be made though that like these decks being out and relevant for a year plus,
Yeah.
like that's a long time for decks to be this relevant. You know,
What's it
Adam
gonna
Insider
say?
had
I think
3 months
look
in the
back on the
sunlight.
we're gonna look back at the last 3 months really fondly, I think.
Drytron's only been legal for like half a year. Like
Drytron came out in Genesis Impact.
No.
it got
Drytron,
okay.
Drytron in
had
Okay.
its
another
current
format.
iteration,
It had another
maybe.
format.
It saw one ban list. It died, and then it got Diviner, and then it came back, and now we're here at the second ban list as is.
That deck's still ridiculous, and you cannot convince me
Yeah,
otherwise.
I know. I want it to
It
die.
was, and then it kind of wasn't, and then it just was again.
The thing is that I guess like we're going on for ages, but I like if Ava had been banned, I think this list would have been much better. Like I think I would think much better of this list if they had just been like, okay, we're taking the frustrating part about Drytron out of the picture. The deck will still do other interesting combo things, but we're taking the fairy engine and we are neutering it, or you're gonna have to find more creative ways to get fairies into your hand. I
Right.
like if they had banned Eva, people could stop playing like the specific side deck cards, and maybe Tron would actually be able to play around like regular hand traps and then just like have to contend with board breakers instead of what they were doing before. I don't. That's what frustrates me is with. I think that's like my final point about this list. This list like didn't have to do that much more to be really really good. Like if this list had like banned Imperial Order, banned Eva, maybe peeled off one or two more random cards, and like maybe checked VW in some random way to compensate for E-Tele coming off, I think the community response to it would have been a lot better. But because they didn't do these really obvious things, everybody's frustrated because it's small, it's mostly meaningless for the format for the next month and a half until products shake things up. And even though this has been a really good format, we're all tired, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think there's some
I
truth
agree.
to that. I think you summed it up well, Mr. Avian Individual.
That's what I do. I fly up to the skies and I get the bird's eye view. And sometimes I miss the cards on the ground for the forest.
Oh my goodness. Well, I think though that runs us just about out of time. I do appreciate you fellas coming on so short notice and chatting with me because with Konami everything is short notice. So
Thank you very much for having us. Always a blast.
of
For
course,
sure, for
and
sure.
of course, as per usual, be sure to check out Team Dark Arm Dealings. Their link will be in the description below. Check out Giant Skyhawk on wherever he's at the time. Twitter, basically any Yu-Gi-Oh Discord server, the comment sections of some videos. You never know where you'll find him, but he's there.
Guys above.
So,
Present. Yeah, skies
uh,
above.
and I think you might have some kind of a combo video coming out soon. Yeah.
Yes, you can look forward to sometime in the next week a introduction to Fluffle and a combo guide in anticipation of some intro stuff. That'll be on my YouTube, but I'll probably just
Oh.
post it everywhere anyway. So look forward to that.
All right. So if you want to find him, though, you can find him on Twitter at
Skyhawk
Skyhawk
sings.
Sings. Skyhawk Sings. That's right. Well, thank you so much, fellas, for joining me, and have a good night.
Peace.